Today was certainly not President Obama's first time on the world stage, but in our third story on the countdown, it was his first speech to the United Nations General Assembly, the full General Assembly, as America's 44th president. And in an only at the UN sideshow, there was Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, who spoke for 1 hour and 36 minutes from a couple of pages of handwritten, pardon the expression, bullet points. President Obama was warmly received today by the UN General Assembly, and he used the opportunity to acknowledge recent mistrust, but also to make clear that he will not make apologies where America's vital interests are at stake.
This has fed an almost reflexive anti-Americanism, which too often has served as an excuse for collective inaction. Now, like all of you, my responsibility is to act in the interests of my nation and my people. And I will never apologize for defending those interests.
The president was able to point to a list of notable policy changes under his leadership, like America's ban on torture, his order to close Guantanamo, and his administration's new commitment to combat global warming. He also tried to turn a familiar criticism of the U.S. on its head.
Those who used to chastise America for acting alone in the world cannot now stand by and wait for America to solve the world's problems alone.
Then, for wacko theatricality, UN style, the next speaker did not disappoint. The Libyan dictator, Mr. Gaddafi, seethed with hatred for all things Israeli and most things American in his first address to the UN ever. More than half of the General Assembly seats were empty by the end of Gaddafi's speech, and the exhausted English language interpreter had to be replaced. The only real surprise is the way in which Gaddafi praised President Obama, suggesting that President Obama should stay as the U.S. leader, quote, forever, end quote. And then Gaddafi proceeded to attack the United States for everything, from the JFK assassination up to and including President Obama's current policy in Iraq and Afghanistan. A great pleasure now to welcome Her Majesty Queen Noor of Jordan, who is a humanitarian activist and co-founder of Global Zero, an international group devoted to the elimination of nuclear weapons. Queen Noor will be sitting in on tomorrow's closed session of the UN Security Council as a special guest. Thanks so much for your time tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for your interest.
Now, what was President Obama's mission today? What do you think he set out to accomplish, and what do you think he actually did accomplish to that audience?
I can't speak for the president, of course, but in listening to his remarks and having watched his progress since he became president in terms of trying to reset America's relations with the rest of the world, I think this was a continuation of the effort to emphasize the collective, the requirement that there be collective action to resolve so many of the global problems that face us, that there needs to be cooperation and dialogue, and the United States is open and willing to do that, and the rest of the world are greeting a new president, a new tone, and, God willing, a new set of priorities and policies to address some of these key issues. Climate change having featured, and nuclear disarmament having featured as well in the pillars that he articulated as critical to our future.
And what are we to make of Gaddafi's speech where he praises Obama personally and then attacks the United States so virulently? Is that a common reaction in the region, that, you know, we love your president but we hate your country?
I think President Gaddafi clearly had a lot on his mind. And I, of course, was listening for references to the elimination of nuclear weapons in most of the speeches today, and was very, very heartened by President Obama's, President Medvedev's, and the President of China's very clear calls for the elimination of nuclear weapons, which, of course, is Global Zero. That is the raison d'être, the reason that we exist, and we're very heartened by their support and by the session that will be held tomorrow, the UN Security Council special session that will be chaired by President Obama. We hope that that will be the beginning of a process that is multilateral, in which the nuclear and non-nuclear states join together to work together for the total elimination of nuclear weapons.
And do you see President Obama as having any advantage in that negotiation that his predecessors have not had? Is there some reason for us to hope that he can make more headway in nuclear disarmament than President Bush could have?
Well, he's certainly been very clear about it, and that always helps. And he and the Russian president, President Medvedev, made a historic commitment to work together in April for the elimination of nuclear weapons. And that has been repeated and was again repeated today. So this is historic. Tomorrow's UN Security Council meeting will also be historic if the resolution is passed by the members of the Security Council to work for the elimination, the total complete elimination of nuclear weapons, because the experts believe that the only way to avoid or to prevent the nuclear threat increasing is in fact to eliminate all nuclear weapons. There is no in between, and we are very close to a nuclear tipping point in which it will be impossible to rein in the dangers that these weapons pose in terms of nuclear terrorism, in terms of non-state actors, or even the accidents that have occurred and affected so many millions of people over the years.
Queen Noor of Jordan, great thanks for giving us your insights tonight.
Thank you very much, and I hope your audience will go to globalzero.org and learn more about the organization. Thank you.